I'm doing work. I'm a work in progress, and I'm not laying around all day or in a bar all day. I'm doing what all you can do is what you can do. And once you do that, I believe that the universe comes in and, every morning I wake up, I'm like, where do you want me? I'm on this wave. Send me that way, man.
Yeah.
As soon as I started doing that, Jules, it's like, we can't control anything, man.
They say you shouldn't meet your heroes, but I couldn't resist. The next guest on Love's Music is Danny Beissel, local rock legend, lead singer of the band Fosterchild, huge songs in the early 2000s. After a brief hiatus and a couple other musical projects, Danny Beissel is back with his new project, Featherborn, available on all streaming platforms. So, with no further ado, my friend, my collaborator, one of my personal heroes, Danny Beissel. We don't have a ton of FaceTime with each other, but you've been in like these very important parts of my life, like scattered throughout the last 20 years. So this is like huge that I have like a long form interview with you today.
Dude, I was grateful. Thank you for reaching out, man. I often think about you, and I've been watching what you've been doing, and kudos for that, man. It's really great. And like I said earlier, it's important to get to always talk music and stuff like that. Whiskey, shotgun shells.
Yeah, there it is. For those of you who don't know, Danny and I have actually 2 songs together. One of which being Music Book, the other being Pastor Mike on 2 of my older projects. But we're not here to talk about my projects. Let's talk about the recent stuff, man. Featherborn is really cool project. There's so many iterations of you, and you do them all at such a high level. But this most recent iteration feels like such an accurate snapshot of who you are today, both sonically, vocally, creatively. Can you tell me exactly what Featherborn is? That's your brainchild, your kind of like singer-songwriter project with your backing band?
Yeah, so Featherborn started really pre-pandemic, like 2018. We made the record in Nashville. I was down there with my friend Charlie and Scott Underwood and Charlie Colin. Charlie's no longer with us, but so we were down there. Yeah, I just had some songs and we went down. We had a friend from out here who sent us down there to Blackbird Studio in Nashville. And we went down to do like an EP, like 4 songs. And it's just the energy and the vibe was really cooking down there. So the guy's like, hey man, you got any more songs? Stay down. So we did. And we actually wrote a couple down there, which became Featherborn 1, which is about a 10 songs we did a cover of Stay With Me on it. And, then the pandemic hit and we kind of had the album done, and I released one of the songs from it. And, the pandemic, I didn't know what to do. Now I should have released the whole album, but in my mind, it's like, you got to tour the album. Anyway.
Yeah.
So fast forwarded, we waited. So actually my friend Charlie passed and we were doing a celebration of life, and Scott produced the record, and he's the drummer for Featherborn. And at his celebration of life, we were playing some of the songs from like Train, and we were doing like his life journey. So we did a couple of his bands, and Featherborn being one of them for Charlie. And I don't know, we all started looking at each other after it. And then the end of 23, we decided to put it together. So we got 2 other members, Curtis Mathewson, who actually was producer of the first Train album, and James Hamilton, a buddy of Curtis's from out here. And then we finally formed Featherborn, and we've been rocking it for about a year and a half as this is the band, Featherborn. So that's where we're at now.
Yeah, it's really cool. I was trying to explain the sound, but it's like everyone ever hears something, and I want to try to like define it, what the sound is, and there's things that I think I hear influence. But at the end of the day, it's really just like no nonsense rock music. It's there's a classic rock sound. There's a leaning towards. Are you familiar with the band Rival Sons?
Yeah,
they're like a California band that sounds like a southern rock band.
Yeah, they're killed. I actually cover. I think I cover one of their songs. Oh no, that's the Heathens. Yeah, a friend of mine. I play with this violin player named Emily V out here, and she's pretty friends with them. I know a couple people that are friends with those guys, and I listen to them. I love their sound. I know it's like Southern Rock, California. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a Southern Rock by way of Malibu.
Yeah, exactly. That's great.
Yeah, man. But
Southern Malibu.
Yeah. Well, the way you write songs the same, like you write anthemic songs that are still intimate, which is really hard to do. Like I feel like when somebody's really peeling back the layers of their heart, I'm thinking, okay, guy on a stool with an acoustic guitar, just cutting himself open. And then when I think anthemic songs, I think we will, you know. But you write, you have the intimacy on that, but the production is so big they feel like anthemic songs. I can see 50,000 people in a field singing lighters in the air. Like I can see it. You know what I mean? Like Where It Was, huge song. Am I getting the song right? There she was. I'm sorry.
Oh, there she was. Yeah. Well, the thing about that whole thing was like you nailed it on the head. Like when I came up with those songs, six off the record I brought in just from me and the acoustic. So they were like, I mean, after Fosterchild, I did a deep dive into like, I mean, I always wrote from my truth and everything, but like Featherborn 1 was just like, just songs that I had, like just a product of growing up listening to the music. I never really deemed myself as a songwriter to that point, but it was just like, I just opened up and did it. So they did come from the heart. So I appreciate you saying that. And when I went to Nashville with Scott and Charlie, I mean, that production is really, and Blackbird Studio, that production was them. They really sprinkled some magic on those songs that I really give them such credit for. It was really amazing what they did to them. Yeah, so I'm so grateful that the album turned out, and I really appreciate you saying that because that's what I was aiming for.
Here's a decent parallel: the same accessibility of almost like an Oasis, right? Like they're writing songs for crowds of 50,000 people.
Yeah,
they're accessible. Yeah, but they're very accessible songs. But there's something like intimate about them. You know what I mean? Like you can see somebody covering an Oasis song who's by themselves in like a dirty bar, but it's so accessible. It'll resonate with somebody in Canada, Florida, Australia, Paris. They just resonate.
And I think the whole thing through that, man, is I think when it resonates like that, it's something that they carved out from like the truth and deep within them. Because when you tap into that, it's a very powerful thing that's going to work in a simple bar and it's going to work in a giant stadium. And plus they're great writers, you know what I mean? Shit.
Yeah.
The bros, the Oasis brothers.
Well, isn't that the goal, right? Like you're making the people that I think do really well, at least recently, are the people that continue to make accessible, or not accessible, that make experimental music that happens to be accessible, as opposed to going in through like the hit factory and being like, all right, I'm going to write songs in the same chords that everybody else is. This is going to be your dance party song. It's like, I feel like now people are doing weird stuff and it's like landing in my newsfeed and being like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah. And I think the whole, it's like I was listening to Rick Rubin a bit ago and looking through his book, and he said some brilliant things, which I agree with, is like, and sometimes it gets misinterpreted. Like you don't write for the audience. You can't. You got to write for yourself and for, like the truth of, I try to get as close to, the truth as I can, whatever that is in me, and hope it resonates. But at the same time, I got to be like right now, this new album we're writing, it's like I'm getting a little more atmospheric, like in a sense of not like so much Radiohead, but like kind of leaning towards a place, because I want to like, I've been doing a lot of rock and roll. I'm a rock and roller, but I want to change it up. And what instruments are new today? So I could keep my honesty as a songwriter, but I can still tap into like sounds that are new and interesting. And that's kind of like what I'm starting to dive in now. And so, that's the fun of it. Like if the song gets me high and it's like, it moves me, that's truly the only way I can like, and if I deliver it through truth, it's like, if it resonates with people, that's when you got something that's like.
Well, art's not just the playing, it's the execution, but also the taste. What makes us good artists isn't the ability to say G sharp, A, B flat. It's the ability to be like, we have taste that other people don't have. Some people can throw a perfect spiral. Like we hear things that other people don't, we take empty air and we put certain sounds into it that we know is cool, but other people don't know the difference between a whistle and a bass drum. Yeah.
Well, that's the cool part about it. And then you're just like, and within that, we keep it simple.
Yes.
So it's easy for people to grab onto. Mm-hmm. But that is a cool thing. That's been one of the coolest things for me. Really doing a lot of gigs and playing the Featherborn album, and we've been playing some of our new songs, but doing some, especially out here. I'm not from here. I'm from Philly. I've been out here a couple of years, and the more we play, and I'm looking at someone like resonate with like whether it's Blush or There She Was or something, and then I'll see them like saying the words, and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, and then you hear what it means to them. Like, that's the coolest thing for me, is like what they think it means. And it's the coolest thing for me when I hear someone else's song and I have my interpretation of it. And so that's like that's a cool feeling, man. Is the way you're right, because we're making this song like this, and we have this whole life around it. As soon as we take it and we give it away, or it's out in the ether,
right? It's not ours anymore.
It's not ours anymore. It's ours. It's like, but that's the beautiful part about it. You're just sending vibrations out.
Yeah. Well, as somebody who's been making, hopefully good ones, right? As somebody who's been making music, quality music for quarter century plus, can you still listen to music objectively? Like, I just put on a cool song. Are you always in like creator artist mode, or can you still be like deeply moved by like secular music?
It's funny, man. It's funny you ask that, Jules. It's like I've been writing for the last year since we put Featherborn, this version, together. So I'm always caught up in listening to the stuff I put down. But like, I try to listen to new music too, just because I think that's important. But it's kind of interesting. It's funny because, like, say last year, I've been listening to David Bowie since I was probably, 10 years old, or since I could hear, because my older brothers had the record. But like a year or so ago, it hit me in a different way, where I did this deep dive into early Bowie and songs that I knew, but I'm like, I was so getting this nostalgia high. Like, it took me that long for this deeper window to open into it. And that was like a year and a half ago. And right now, I just put the guitar down. I'm going through this crazy Radiohead phase. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing this deep, I've been listening to Radiohead. I know they've been out there, but so for me, it's like certain music hits me at different times. So meanwhile, I'm like going down this Radiohead rabbit hole. I'm still keeping my pulse on some new music, because, it's kind of like, if something hits me and it hits me hard like that, I have to follow it. It's because I feel like the universe is telling me something.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm going down this rabbit hole and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm getting this nostalgia high off this music that's been around for a while. Or sometimes it'll be someone will play me a new song and it'll hit me like, who is this band? And I'll do a deep dive in. So right now it's like, I'm just like this open thing. And when a vibration from one band comes in, it either hits me in a way where I'm attracted to it. Yeah. I hope that made sense.
No, it does. It does. There's something to be said for posturing. I'll give you an example. Like, I remember I saw this band live just because they were at like every festival. They were always playing like in the middle of the day. Nobody really could. So I just saw them a bunch of times. This was Death Cab, right? Death Cab for Cutie, Vancouver. And I'm like, I saw them maybe 3 times. And then one day I saw them in like 2015. Sun is setting. I heard Transatlanticism. It was like hearing the band for the first time. And I was like,
I'm telling you, dude, it's the coolest thing.
Yeah.
It's like you weren't ready for it when you first heard it, right. Something. I don't know what it is. I just enjoy when it happens. And it's like this nostalgia high, just like I'm in like this dreamland. Like, I shut my door and I'm just learning the tunes, and I just let it happen, because I think it's like, it's letting me know that I should be, that's what I said about like, it's affecting, we're writing a couple new songs, and it's affecting me in that sense, where I'm thinking like, well, let me think about that. Let me stay on that atmospheric vibe for a minute. And that's the fun, man, because we're just creating we're creating music. So it's kind of like, we have to be open to whatever's coming in, new or old. You know what I mean? So it's like,
there's something to be, it's like the value of stillness, the value to be open, to not just being like, the hammer and the nail. Sometimes you just got to like sit still and just kind of like let it happen.
Yeah.
It's like all that is in there. Yeah. it's one of my favorite things about myself, the fact that I can still be like deeply affected by like new artists, you know? Do you think you'd be jaded? Everything would sound derivative. For instance, I think the last artist that just like got their hook in me, are you familiar with Joy Odelakun?
No.
Folk artist, black woman. I believe she's from Nashville, but moved. Absolutely incredible. I like listened to her album on like the way to my parents, and it was like a spiritual experience. It was unbelievable. The point I'm trying to make is you can still be affected. What I think people don't realize is unless you're making music for like 15 and 16-year-olds and you're like their first artist, we're out here as artists almost trying to like get market share from people who already have a favorite artist. You know, so you have these new artists that are coming in and are saying, okay, this is the dozen artists you listen to. I have to take one of their spots, you know? So I guess the question is, what does it take for an artist to really connect with somebody? Like the artists that you've seen that just like popped up and just like resonated with large groups of people, what do you think they have that you'd be able to impart to younger artists in terms of perspective? Like, this is what you have to do to gain favor in this community or to gain impact in this community.
You know, I'd say right off the bat, you know, don't write for that community. As we said earlier, like you gotta find your truth, write your vibe. And it's not like being selfish, it's being artistic. You know what I mean? You can't, you know, you can't write for somebody else.
Right.
So find your vibe, find your sound really, and be honest with it. And to get in the community, I mean, now it's so different. You know, you could literally now, you could go and find your favorite artists and kind of like on the streaming platforms and jump onto like playlists and stuff like that. But everything, you know, everything costs money.
Yeah.
So for right now to try to break into it, you know, like I keep saying, and I'm doing the same thing, is like, I'm such a, like, even the way I write and play is like very just old school rock and roll, but I'm always looking for a new sound. You know, I can only write what I know and what my feel is, but I can grab new sounds. So if you're listening to these, if you're trying to find your way through, if you have like, I love these artists, they turn me on, you know, figure out and if you feel like, find out what you sound like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like find artists that you think you compliment with, like you match with a little bit in your sound, and go under the, you know what I mean? Try to find a playlist with them on it or something like that.
Good advice.
But
Good
you know, it's an interesting time because we're all trying to navigate through this digital world of music. It's kind of like you got to find how to navigate through what you're trying to get. For me, you know, I left Philadelphia, I moved out here, and you know, I got this new record. Well, it's not new now, but when I had Featherborn 1, and I'm trying to like, how do I get in? And I was doing that. I was getting on some playlists, but it's like, it wasn't really, I felt like I was paying money, like greasing the DJ, old school, you know? And for me, you know, I had Blush was put in a rom-com, and I saw a little movement on it. You know, it went straight to DVD and all, but I was like, so it kind of like licensing.
Yeah.
That's why I moved out here, try to license some music. And that's what cool. I'm working. Cool. When I go in to record now, it's a licensing deal.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the only way I could feel to break through quicker than the old school record label radio, which kind of really doesn't exist anymore, is getting placed in a commercial or movies or something like that. Now that's a big jump. I mean, if I was, you know, 20 years old and in a band, just go, man. It's just, that hasn't changed. Get in the van, go. You got to play. I can't stress playing out live more is so important right now.
Absolutely.
For young bands, play, like shut and rehearse, be like, be as best, because you got to remember you're up against so much out there right now. And there's so much more out there because now everybody can jump on and put on their video, which is cool, man. You know, everybody's got a voice in a sense. And I would also say a really cool thing would be, you know, if you're trying to break into this vibe, like there's so many, like you could go on and be like, is there a group that loves this band? You tap into that group. Hey man, why don't you check out my record? I mean, as much as like the digital era is like, oh my God, how am I going to navigate through this? There's always a negative and positive to everything. So the negative being like a guy like me, I'm like, well, wait a minute, we get signed and we get radio, and that's, that's not around anymore. So it's kind of like I have to navigate the digital era. So I landed on licensing, but because I have some records out there that, possibly, hopefully can do that for me.
Certainly
I say play live, because you're not getting a lot of that, and be the best that you can at your craft, because, a lot of times there's a lot of, I think now you can literally play live and have like a tuner on your microphone.
Yeah.
And, that's fine, I guess, for whoever wants to do that. But like the one thing you'll never get away from is the human experience. Music is feeling, it's vibration. It's like its own consciousness sometimes. And you can't get away from that live. And AI it'll never recreate that human aspect.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of like, I wish I had something to say, do this and that and that and that.
Yeah.
It's just not there right now. You kind of just, you got to do it because you love it. You got to write from your heart, and you got to play. You got to be active, You can be active on the, and these young kids now, they know the computer so much better than like, us young guys. And it's like, so with that, you also need the live aspect.
Yeah.
Get in the van, go see your cities. And, when I was in Philly, I played Philly, and then I played the tri-state area, and then I got lucky and we got signed, and then we did the country. There's nothing in the world like that.
True.
And then you're just meeting people. So like being an internet mogul and all that's fine. Having music on that's great too. But if you have both, then you really got it. So I guess to answer that question in a roundabout way is to break into that, find out, like you said, break into those kind of bands that you love and what's happening would be like, find out who's listening to them. And that's the power we have on the internet. You could be like, what algorithms and all that, like,
the data is there.
The data is there. So it's like, come at it this way opposed to this way.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Instagram has somebody playing music. Hey, check out my record, check out my song or TikTok. TikTok's probably the better one. That's like,
I guess.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that savvy on which one to do, but somebody keeps saying TikTok is actually one of the better ones.
Yeah. It's a maze to me.
Yeah.
Fosterchild was like, I mean, you guys had a seat at the table, right? For those that don't know, it was like a super group with Octane and Yule, basically. It was the two guys from Yule.
So,
and then Brian from Octane and yourself at lead.
I met Brian down at South Street in Philly back in like, I think it was around 2003 or 4 when I met Brian, and Octane. So I obviously I loved Octane, Philly, a massive band in Philly, actually all around that area. I don't know if they toured or they did shows with Fuel. So the drummer of Fuel, Kevin Miller, became friends with Brian Quinn, and those guys were always talking about jamming. And I met Brian, and we started, hanging out and writing, and like I was never, I really became a songwriter with Brian. I messed around with it before that, but Brian really opened that up in me, because I was new to music. I was, I became a musician in my early 20s. So Kevin left Fuel, and him and Brian started jamming. And Brian's like, hey man, I know this singer and I know this bass player who is Eric Lenhart from Jersey. And we went to Kevin's, got in a room and started playing, and that was it.
Yeah.
That was a killer band, dude. That was so fun that like I was able to do that 4-piece rock and roll band. I mean, that was such a rock band. It was,
dude. That's another thing. Like I remember write-ups about Fosterchild, and it was like this commoditization of music was happening. The boy band thing was starting to die. Now it's kind of like these like dance pop records. Hip hop is like commercial hip hop, and then like here's a band that is just all attitude. Yeah, like that's how like they wrote about you guys in the write-up. And I was like, that tracks. They're just like 4 bad dudes with killer songs that are going to smack you in the mouth for a sec.
And drink whiskey with you.
Yes, and drink whiskey. That's actually how we met.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, do you remember? Was it the gig at the Roosevelt Boulevard place, or was it Whiskey Tango? You guys played a gig, and then we like hung, and that's like how I met you. That was with Brian.
I think it was Tango. I mean, we played both of those places, but I remember hanging with you at Whiskey Tango because I remember you did an event there, and I jumped up with you, and I think we were saying like this is where we met and stuff. I think you were there with Brian Lee. I think.
Yeah, Brian. That's my guy. Yeah.
So to Tango, and I think that's where we met, bro.
Yeah, that's so funny.
That was a great spot.
Yeah, man. Well, here's a funny moment. I don't even know if you remember it. I forget where we were at the night before, but I was living on Sylvania Avenue, and I think you had family in Glenside. And Brian wasn't even with me. At this point, me and you were already cool. We had a song together, and we were doing something, and then we just went back to the house. And my roommates, we were all a little bit wild. There's maybe 6 or 7 of us. Like the house was like rocking around 1:30, 2 o'clock. You come knocking at the door. I'm like, oh, it's Danny. This is my guy. My roommates haven't met you before. But so you come in, you sit down on a beanbag. You played like 6 songs. And I was like, hey, man, you want to drink anything? You're like, no, I think I'm going to get out of here. You literally came over, played 6 songs at 2 o'clock in the morning and left. And
Really?
everybody was like, did that just happen? They're like, did we dream that?
I had to get it out at 2 a.m. and it had to be on a beanbag at your place.
I'm like, I don't even know who remembers this. Like it was that surreal. Like in the morning, there was a skinny blonde guy that came by and played.
Lanky dude that stopped by to serenade.
Yeah, well, think about it from my roommate's perspective. They're like, there's a guy with a guitar at the door, and I was like, oh, that's my buddy.
You know what? I do remember that. I don't know where the hell. I mean, I'm sure I was, had a couple.
Yeah. It happens.
In there.
It was the 2000s. It was the 2000s.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to stop by your boy's house and just whip a guitar out and start jamming and roll.
It was so real. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think my wife was actually at the house then. Like we weren't dating or dating seriously at the time. But I think she was actually there and had that memory too. So it's like we have this like odd memory from like the 2000s with Danny Beissel. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
I wonder what I played.
You had a couple staples. When I used to see you do covers with Brian Quinn, you would play Hallelujah. You would play what's the song? The song from Reservoir Dogs. Brian would sing lead on that one. You would sing Karma Police, and it was like my favorite. I think I liked your cover better than the original. Yeah.
That's funny. See, I was doing Radiohead back then.
Yeah,
it's just hitting me now.
Yeah. At I saw that set that I'm talking about at Kildare's. You remember you used to play Kildare's on South Street?
God, I just love Kildare's.
Yeah.
The Kildare's on South Street?
Yeah, there's one. It's not quite front. It might have been second, but I know it's almost towards Ben's Landing. Yeah.
No, it was Head House Square.
Oh, really? It wasn't Kildare?
Yeah. It was right across from where Boyz II Men did that video. Remember, they're walking under the pillars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's Head House Square. They changed. It was Kildare's. I used to love playing there. Yeah, Brian and I used to play there all the time.
Yeah, man. Dude. Yeah, all these little memories.
Then it was called Get Happy. Remember that?
I know it was called that. Nah.
Yeah, or Get Happy or something happy. I think it was Get Happy.
Yeah.
We're going to Get Happy. It was called. Some dude bought it. And it was kind of cool. We still played there, but it kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, marketing genius there. Rolls off the tongue, right? For sure, right? In a quarter century of making music, what is the most valuable lesson you learned?
About music or just life?
Life, art, people?
Well, I guess you have a better grip with a loose hand. That's how I can sum that up. The minute I stopped trying I need this piece to move over here and this piece to move over here, then all of a sudden I'm like this. I just went, you get a better grip with a loose hand. You got to kind of just that which grows simpler always grows better. And as soon as I did that and I just gave it over to the universe, as long as I show up, I'm doing work, I'm a work in progress, and I'm not laying around all day or in a bar all day. I'm doing what all you can do is what you can do. And once you do that, I believe that the universe comes in and, every morning I wake up, I'm like, where do you want me? I'm on this wave. Send me that way, man. As soon as I started doing that, Jules, it's like, we can't control anything, man. All we can do is be on a high vibration. and which means like, you know, what's a low vibration? Like anger and frustration. Like a high vibration, like it's all good, man.
Warmth.
And not to sound like a guru, but like in a sense, like soon as I try to stop trying to put a square in a circle hole and just let it flow, and like and that goes with everything, dude. My writing and my everyday life. So I guess I'd say you have a better grip with a loose hand.
I love
whatever that means.
I love that.
Yeah.
If you could have the knowledge you have today and implant yourself at any point in your career, almost like time machine style, with the knowledge you have now, where would you implant yourself and what would you do different?
Oh man, what a quest. That's something I probably think about twice a week. I would probably, you know, I was pretty green in my 20s, you know. I didn't know a lot. So I would plant myself in my 20s. Like, look, my journey's my journey. I'm happy. I wouldn't change anything. But if we could do that, I'd probably go back to my 20s and knowing what I know now, I would look at things a lot different. I would protect my voice a lot more. Yeah, I would, you know, sometimes when you're 20, you know, I could be out for 3 nights partying and still sing the highest notes of all time. But like, you know, and but I just didn't know. I was just green at it. So I'd probably
you want to live forever. And
yeah, I would go back in my 20s and I would start digging in, and I would become, I guess I would be more of an original artist early on because I became an original artist. And probably, I mean, I got signed I was 34.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty late in the career, but it was like, I remember being like, if I'm 35, I'm switching the route. Like I signed at 34. So it was like, thanks to the guys, because, you know, when we started Fosterchild, it was like, we were fanatic. You show me a fanatic, I'll show you success. Like we were fanatical. Yeah. We were like up Kevin's, but you know, we were practicing all day. Then me and Brian were going home and writing until 4 a.m. And then going back to Kevin's. We were like, bang. So it was like,
you hate though, man.
Yeah, that's because you know, it's what you put in is what you get out, man. It's like, it's such an important thing. And I give a lot of credit to the guys, you know, Fosterchild, Brian, and like, cause I was so aloof, you know? So it was like, just getting in there and just getting your sound tight, you know, like even a gig we were doing in Featherborn, that's so important. And that's something I would tell my young self that I know now is like, behind the scenes, do the work, because when you're on stage, you don't have to think about that. If you did all the work, you need practice and all that stuff. So when you're coming out on stage, you don't have to think about anything but just relaxing and just letting it flow through you and come out, and knowing all that stuff's there. The lyrics are there, your beats are there, your timing's there. You know when to come in, you know, all that stuff that shouldn't come out in a performance.
Yeah, I remember we saw you open for Crossfade and Buck Perry, and you couldn't tell who the headliner was. Intensity never dropped off. Like you guys, I think you guys went first. Obviously, it was like I was watching. Like I'm like, oh, that's my boy. That's a star, but it's my boy. I'm like, why? I'm watching it happen. You know what I mean?
That's what
like
I'm
in
Croc Rock
in Allentown.
Yeah,
Crocodile Rock in Allentown.
That's right.
You remember that night?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you guys were incredible.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That was a fun.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's a great band, dude. 4-piece
man.
Band, like just Brian and Eric. It was kind of interesting because now I'm where it writes like finding all these sub melodies and everything, and the way they went at it was like Brian would have a riff, and Eric would double it, and it was just this wall of like just coming at you.
Yeah,
it was a rad band, man.
And it's funny how perception changes, because you can look at that band and you're gonna be like, oh, this is like a throwback to like Guns N' Roses and 90s stuff. And then in hindsight, you're like, oh no, you were kind of doing the stuff that Youngblood's doing now, you know, like in terms of like the screaming, scratchy voice stuff and like the high energy, like raucous, like anthemic stuff. So it's
timing,
man. It's so cyclical. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Youngblood, that's right. He is doing all that, man.
Yeah.
He's crushing.
Yeah.
Everybody's
like, look at this guy. I'm like, don't look like my boy Danny does.
Well, thanks, dude.
Then Danny Youngblood could run.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So speaking
timing.
of that, Yeah, right. So when you see somebody, right, the same way like I was seeing your performances and other people alike, and I'm like, some people just have it. Obviously, it's hard work, and you have to have great songs, and you have to have some kind of aptitude and work ethic. Some people just have it. In your opinion, what does it?
I don't know if it looks like anything. I think it's more feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like for me, whatever that is, it, you know, I don't think anybody knows. Oh, it's this, and that.
Right.
It's just, and it all to me, it comes from when someone's very expressing their truth. Like that's what gets you. When soon as, even like if you're seeing an artist and they only have like 10 seconds of complete relaxation and their true self comes out because they're nervous. That's all it takes sometimes. Like, oh shit. It's like a window to their soul. And the only thing the only thing you have to offer is the thing that's uniquely you. So there's no facade. So whatever it is, it means, I believe it means that person is being honest and you're getting the trueness of them. And then they, and it's not, usually it's not one thing. It's how they sound, their voice comes out and their movement and what they're not doing. You gotta remember that.
Yeah.
It's not all about what you're doing. Sometimes it's when you're not doing anything, when you know the power of silence, the power of not playing at that moment and letting it breathe, just trusting it. I mean, trusting the moment. Sometimes the moment's not a note or a voice. And I think all of that, and, for me, it's like, if I see that, I'm like, whoa. But it really comes down to the person's vibration, I guess. Like you either vibrate with them or you don't. And you got someone like, well, take like Elvis Presley. I mean, like, wow, one of the biggest artists of our time. And it's like, what was that? And I remember, my first thing I ever did was called the Elvis Experience. I did a rockabilly thing. I had short hair and moving my legs and shit. And it kind of like through his voice, I found mine. I was almost doing Elvis as a characterization, trying to find out what is it that makes this guy like, why is he's driving everybody crazy? What is it?
Right.
And through as an actor's perspective, it was humility. He was truly humble. He would like make fun of him. He was truly humble and people couldn't fathom it. I mean, that's what I came up with anyway. So it's kind of like not taking yourself too serious. I mean, like look at Youngblood. He's this dude. You can't not look at that guy and be like excited because he's just having a good time. Because he takes the stage like, oh my God, what's
like
happening?
he's excited.
Like, it's the first time it's happening and the last time it's happening. And it's the best. I always say that to everybody. Like, if you're on stage like this, that's what people are going to feel. If you're like this and that, then they're like, they want to leave. Yeah. You never let them see you sweat. It's always positive. And that's why that guy's shining, because like, you never see it. He's just always like, every time I seen the guy on TV or something, and I don't know a lot about him, but I'm like, oh, that guy's got there's something about that guy. And it's like what you're saying, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's a combination of things. To be quite honest, I think it's could be a God-given thing. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I think it all boils down to find it. If you have it or not, it's still got to come out of relaxation, truth, and honesty, and sincerity.
Absolutely. It's almost like I remember seeing Post Malone, to kind of add to your point. And I'm listening to his catalog, and I'm in like the Wells Fargo Center at this point. Now he's like the guy. He was having a huge year. And you're looking at it, I'm like, this is so huge, this is so fun, it doesn't make sense. And he got on stage like, it doesn't make sense to me either, man. This is a ball.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, man. And he was such like a genuine everyman. And I think there's something about it that has to do with like alignment. Like when you talk about truth and you talk about vibration, when somebody is aligned, they like the sound, the energy, the aesthetic, all just kind of marries itself in this, what you said, attitude of like humility. Like, this is who I am. I'm now I'm going to blow all of your minds in the form of service to you guys. Make sure we all have an excellent time. And something about being able to do that well is like, oh, we're in the presence of something special.
Well, it's like you're telling them you're not alone. You know, it
Yeah.
could be as simple as that. When you're making someone feel like, oh my God, he gets me. You know,
Yeah.
whatever that is. You know, once you unlock that through, like a good writer will do that lyrically, or, you know, I mean, God, bring up Radiohead again. I mean, I can't wrap my head around some of their melodies are just out of this world. And I think, see, I'm a melody guy. Like the last thing I get is the lyric. You know, some people hear the lyrics immediately. To me, the melody hits me and I'm like,
Beatles.
oh, and then eventually I figure out what he's saying or she's saying, whatever it is, you know. And you know, everybody's different.
Here's the thing, man. Do you even have an Achilles heel? You know, like I've seen you do like half a dozen things at the highest level you can do them. Is there something that you just wish you did a little bit better or feel you'd like to refine?
Yeah. You know, I could be a better player. I'd say for me, yeah, I think I could dig into the guitar a little more, get the piano, know the piano a little more. I mean, I've been pretty strict on my vocals, like, you know, taking care of them. And then I'm a crazy person about my pitch. So I'm like, so focused on that before shows. Cause I sing with different bands. So it's kind of like, if I'm singing with American Vinyl, it's like, I have to approach that differently because I'm singing the highest of my octaves, doing the Boston and all that stuff. So it's like, I'm always concentrated on my voice. So I'd like to, you know, dig in to be a you know, better musician to speak. So
yeah, the harmony work on Featherborn versus Fosterchild was like a very welcome difference. You know?
Yeah, that's that was Charlie, man.
Yeah.
He's I did some harmonies, but like, you know, I got to really give it to those guys what they did to those songs. Like it was you know, he basically had like Train's rhythm section, having Scott and Charlie, and just because it's not that I've been I only did really Fosterchild before that, before Featherborn, and I think I did the so I basically just did Fosterchild. I was only in the studio for that. Maybe when we did Calling All Angels with Carly Simon, that was the other thing, but that was only one song. And then when I did Featherborn, it was such an educational, like I left that recording a different songwriter, a different player. So like, it really opened me up because I'm like a sponge in those situations. I know I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I'm always like willing. I just want to learn and learn and learn and learn. And that was just being at Blackbird with John McBride, engineering, and Scott and Charlie and the musicians that we use, man. It was such a mind-blowing experience. Really special experience.
It is cool, man. In terms of having like a full circle moment, when you were kids, you always dream about doing like the music thing. And you have this like short list of things you always dreamed about. And then you start doing it and you're like, oh, that was on that list of things I dreamed about when I was a kid. I actually got to do it. Do you have anything like that? Like something you always dreamed about and you're like, oh my God, I actually just got to do that. I experienced it.
Dude, I'll tell you what, man. And I say this all the time. And it's like, I remember first daydream that ever came true for me. And I was on a bus in Philly coming from Arnold Doherty and Alney. I was on the K bus, I think it was called, SEPTA bus. And I remember daydreaming. And this is the first time because, you know, I didn't know what I wanted to do until but I remember daydreaming being on a stage or something and singing. And I remember the first time it happened, I'm like, oh my God, is that a dream come true? You know, like a daydream. So then I looked at it like, you know, that's a very special moment. So yes, I daydream all the time. I do it now, right? Because it's kind of like I have a super objective and all these other objectives to get there. So like right now I'll picture like, I try to manifest things and I do it all the time. I'm still like a little kid, like, oh my God, daydream doing that, whatever that is. And I believe as soon as we daydream it, we could go towards it. Because as soon as I made one come real, I mean, do that equation. If I can make a simple daydream real that I did as a kid on a bus, I daydreamed something that actually happened. I was like, oh, that's cool. How far can I take this? So yeah, I'm still kid. You know, I don't think as an artist we should ever lose that kid-like mentality.
No, that childlike wonder. You know?
Yeah, the imagination is the most powerful thing.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man.
A musician, an actor, anybody could, any human can get out. Like a carpenter has to imagine a house, and once he builds that, it's got to be just the feeling of me writing a song.
Right. It almost like validates your belief, right? I always thought it was like the cheesiest thing when people are like, believe in yourself. I was like, well, don't believe in yourself. Go out there and, establish proof and do the steps and do the thing. But I was like, that's so corny. And then I'm like, and now as I'm older, it kind of almost takes on like a new form. It's like, no, it's believe in yourself. It's like use the proof to learn how to trust your gut and your instincts and your taste, like we were talking about before, because your instincts are usually right. And that's what I meant by believe in yourself. Like when I say something broad, like believe in yourself, like how do you personalize that in your world?
I didn't believe myself a long time, I mean, that's a whole nother thing, but it's like to personalize that is trust your instinct. You said it, you nailed it. They're your instincts. I always say, if your intuition says don't walk across the street, don't walk across the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that got me through life to this point where I'm at is my instincts, because I trusted them. And I think that's all we have at the end of the day. And, your instincts are everything, but we have to, they're just not like, it all comes to living your truth and trying to be as honest. That sharpens your instincts, sharpens them up.
Mm-hmm.
Because we went on a dull them. If I'm out 5-day binge, my instincts ain't really sharp, or they're probably not even really my instincts at that point. So it's kind of like, I love that you said that, because that's such an important thing. The only thing we have is what we are and our instincts. And sometimes they might be wrong, but at least we followed our instinct. By the end of the day, if I could be like, well, I instinctively thought that and I followed it. And like, I can sleep at night if I did that. Like, sit in this guessing game, like, they pull this lever or this.
Exactly. I think it's the courage to move forward without certainty. I mean, art and music, man, certainty is a luxury, man. You go up on the show, I don't know how it's going to happen. We did all the stuff we can do. We don't know how this crowd's going to go, this venue, this album, this song. We think it's great, but you really don't know. And I think that believing in yourself is like, all right, we're going to figure it out. We have about 55% of the data. We'd like to have 100. We're going to move forward.
Well, dude, it's like I'll wake up and I'm like, okay, today's an improvisation. What's my objective? You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, now I have and everything else is just life. And you just got to react to it. So it's like, you got to keep it sharp. And go back to that statement I said about better grip with a loose hand too. It's like, don't, some people can get so in their heads. It's like, you really got to give it, like the magic is to give some over, some will say, give it over to God or give it over to the universe, whatever floats your boat. But you can't, as humans, man, as soon as we get like this, it's wrong. It's not going to be right if we're tensed up in a low vibration. Right. It's like, and I found, I'm saying that because I'm living it. Lucky enough, I'm able to live out here in Laguna Beach, California, and I'm living that way is like, it's such a peaceful. I have such a peace because of that. I'm not, look, man, I'm a work in progress. I'm still going. I'm still a little kid trying to make it. You know what I mean? In a sense, but. What is life? But just, sometimes I got to remind myself that the journey is it. Don't get so like, because then all of a sudden, like all this life, like 2 weeks went by and you're like this, opposed to like, whatever, I'm going that direction. I'm doing my best. I'm doing, somehow I'm still out here and I guess I'm supposed to be out here. So ain't that a nicer way to just, they could all end tomorrow, man. I don't know. So it's kind of like, don't take yourself too seriously, like you said it. I think that's a brilliant thing you said there.
Yeah, man. Well, what's this next question is a two-parter. Practically speaking, right? Your best and worst habit. What's something you do that helps you stay aligned, focused, centered? And then something that you have that's like, oh man, I wish I could kick this habit, man, but I just can't. It's such a guilty pleasure.
I like it. Jeez, I have so many of those.
Yeah.
No, not that many. The good thing that really centers me and helps me in everyday life is I wake up and meditate. So that's been a literal game changer that's for me though. You know, I can only speak for myself. That's a great habit that I've been doing. I do that, you know, I have a bunch of habits throughout the day that I do, but that's my number one because I wake up with a racy head, man. Oh my God, I'm late. For what? I'm not late for anything. You know what I mean? It's like, but it's just that head I wake up with. So meditate a lot. Well, a bad habit that I still have that I'm trying to fix is procrastination. I procrastinate a lot.
You and me, brother.
It's like, you know, I push things off. I'm not as bad as I used to be. I'm cleaning that up a little bit, but it's like, it's such a stupid thing to do. It's like, you know, and when I don't do it, like when I get up and I tack something, it's gone. It's like, oh my God, it's like the universe is right, you know, and it's such a simple thing. Yeah. But listen, man, that's, you know, we all lived a lot of life and, you know, there's things. It's like, I don't get frustrated when I don't do it because I'm just like, because at least I caught it. Like, hey man, damn, I did that again. So again, I'll tell you what, the statement of being a work in progress has been the best thing I say to myself. Like, relax, Danny, you're a work in progress. But you're going that way or you're going that way. So I always try to keep going that way. So I guess like to answer your question, man, it would be like just the meditation that just quiets my mind just for like 20 minutes in the morning, man. And then it's just a calmer day for me. And that's a good version of me when I'm at, you know, not that I am walking around anxiety ridden. I don't have that, but I have a head that thinks a lot. I guess we all do. But.
Nice.
And procrastination, dude, it's been that's been around since day one for me. But like, you know, I cleaned it up a bit. But like that's a thing that I've been chipping away at, and it's been a lot better.
Well, there's something you said a couple of times, and I haven't addressed it yet. You always talk about, you know, I'm work in progress, and I'm getting there. Did it take you a while to be able to like extend yourself that grace, or you always kind of like had like a healthy relationship with like shame and vulnerability and being able to be like, oh, I made a mistake, I'm not going to sit and dwell, or did you learn to do that later in life? You can extend yourself in grace and be like, look, I'm not going to get it all right, but I'm working towards it.
Well, for me, and I don't mind saying this, is I'm an alcoholic. So before I got sober, I was, you know, I wasn't thinking the best, you know what I mean, about myself and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's a little different for me to answer that. So like the last 4 years have been, you know, fixing that part of myself, getting, you know, it was a good run, but, you know, I had to put the drink down and that cleaned a lot up for me. So
congratulations.
That's like, thank you. When I was out there on the party and stuff like that, I just wasn't thinking right. And I was a work in progress, but I wasn't working towards the light side of things, you know? So, you know, I was kind of lost in a lot of those years.
As we are.
And I give credit to a lot of people in my life, like Brian was a big part of my life. They gave me a direction in a positive way.
Shout out Brian Lee. Changed my life.
Yeah. Brian Lee, Brian Quinn, you know, like Quinny just, you know, like I was just like this. So I got lucky when I attached to someone that like was a driving force in a good direction. I got lucky with that, you know, with them, you know, musically and everything else. But like, you know, had to clean all that up, which I did. And right now, like, I feel it's kind of funny. It's like, you know, feel like it's a whole new life for me, but you know, so a work in progress, meaning like, you know, the things that, you know, how do we learn by, you know, for me, I did the things the wrong way enough that I learned that they were wrong. So like right now, a work in progress, meaning like trying to be the best version of myself, try not to procrastinate, try to show up, try to be, you know, man of my word and all that good stuff. And that's all we can really do. It's all I can really do as a person. And the journey's been absolutely amazing. And it's been filled with ups and downs, but that's life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, speaking about it now, what is something you're proud of that has nothing to do with music?
Besides music, it's just being you know, not to sound like a weirdo, but like I'm proud of where I'm at and where I'm at in my headspace and being a man of my word and showing up. And, you know, I was a pretty sick guy out there for a long time, running around with the drink and, you know, and it's a progressive thing. It was a progressive thing. So, you know, I was letting people down, people that were trying to help me. and I didn't mean to. I was just sick.
Yeah.
So I guess the main thing I'd be proud of is that I became a man of my word.
For anybody who listens to this interview, how do we stay plugged in? How do we connect with people? More importantly, how can we support you, man, and kind of advance the movement?
Number one, be the best version of yourself, because when you do that, it helps everything. And we need to put more positive energy into this world of ours.
Yeah.
The negative is on the rise. So, but to support me, I mean, I guess listen to, listen to Featherborn. And if you like it, keep listening. And if you don't, that's okay. It's not everybody's flavor, but like right now it would be like, I'm just trying to get the music out there, and it's like it's a hard thing to do in a sense, but I'm not going to let, it's like we talked about earlier, Joel, like I'm trying to navigate through this new way of the digital era. Like I landed on, I'm going to try to license some music. And so, just, I guess listen to my music. And if it affects you, maybe, I don't know how you would let me know about it, but I love hearing about that stuff. And like, I love when someone I guess why wouldn't I? Like, tells me that something, because it means something to me. I mean, you would feel the same way, if someone comes up to you about one of your songs, and it's like, wow,
100%.
It's a great feeling. So, we're all just trying to put a little bit of good, good vibrations out there in the atmosphere. And so, yeah, check me out. I'm on streaming platforms. Stay tuned for some new music coming out. Possible movie. Yeah, I might be doing some get back. It's like I started before I was a musician. I studied acting in Philly under this guy Sidney Kay, which was like became more of a mentor in life than actually. I did a couple independent films and stuff like that, but I had this thing that came up now. I was trying to work some music in a movie, and I may have some good news coming out soon. So stay tuned. But yeah, just check me out on Instagram and let me know who you are, and I'd love to find out who you are.
That's sweet, man. Well, dude, I thank you from the bottom of my heart just for making time, man. I think your journey is
thank you, man. Thank you for thinking.
Yeah, dude, you have so much more that's going to come out. I have nothing but like the highest hopes for you and the highest standards. Everything you do is freaking fantastic. So I love you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Dude, I love you too, and I'm very grateful that you reached out and asked me to do this, man. I'm a big fan of you, as your music as a person, and you're just like you're great family, man, and I love you, brother, and I appreciate you reaching out, man.
The rest of you, thank you so much for checking out Danny Beissel and I. I'll make sure you check out that Featherborn album. Take very good care of yourself, and if you like what you've heard here today, please tell somebody who loves music.